AI seems to be everywhere nowadays. It's all people can talk about it. It's all over our jobs, our shopping, our investments, how we manage our daily lives. What should we know about AI? How should we prepare for AI and how it might affect not just the economy, but also our personal private lives and especially our financial lives? What should we be doing and talking about right now? Well, that's what we're going to discuss in this video. We're not going to go down the doom and gloom side of things. You can find plenty of videos on that. We're going to talk about clarity and strategy. So we're going to talk about what impact AI might have on both the economy and for you personally, and help you find some things to do to prepare for that. Because I will say AI is not just a tech trend that's going to go away. It is an economic shift, and we need to be prepared for that. So understanding AI is part of your financial future, and we need to do this. Now, this is going to be a video in I'm going to do multiple videos on AI because I think it's that important. This is kind of the basis, talking about AI in terms of the real world impacts it could have. The next video I'm planning to do is on the AI bubble when it comes to the markets, because that is a question I'm getting a lot about. So if this topic is interesting to you, stick around because we're going to do more of those. But just as a little side note, I want to welcome anybody who's new here. I'm Lisa. I'm a financial advisor. I've been doing this for over 15 years, and I help people get to financial freedom as quickly as possible. And if you're coming back, welcome. We're happy to have you. Okay, so let's just jump into this. The biggest question that comes up about AI is jobs, right? Is it going to be job displacement or job loss, or is it going to be job evolution? I think AI will probably replace some tasks, but I don't necessarily think it's going to replace people. I think that certain jobs might be gone, but other jobs might come in their place. Now, the only reason I say this is that I'm old enough to have been involved with or to remember the internet coming into our lives. My husband and I were just talking about how, we used to go to the encyclopedia to see things, to look up things for our papers and things in high school. And in college, it was totally different because we had the internet. We could use the internet, which was still pretty new. And so when the internet came out, people said the same thing. Oh, it's going to displace all these jobs. There's going to be so much unemployment and all that. And it really didn't happen. There was some disruption. Obviously, we had the tech bubble in the markets and other things like that. And that we'll discuss that more in the next video, of course. But, people found their way. There were plenty of jobs for people. Let's just put it that way. And the same thing when the smartphone came out, job displacement, everybody's going to lose their jobs. And it was fine. We got through it. So if we look back at history, like we tend to do when we're talking about the financial markets and all that, it probably will be more of an evolution to new jobs that people can transition over to. And the nice thing is that you can use AI to bump up your skill set to be prepared for those new jobs, which is kind of cool. So the thing that might be replacing you is also going to help you move into a new skill set for a new job that might be even better for you. Hopefully, maybe higher wages, things like that. Now, the areas I think that AI is really going to affect are things like administrative tasks, repetitive tasks, data entry, support roles, those kind of things. And I think it's going to strengthen other areas like strategy, leadership, creative problem solving, human-centered roles. So it's going to be a tool for those areas. So what this means financially is there's a stronger earning potential for people, because if jobs evolve and you are now doing higher tasks with a higher skill set, hopefully you're getting paid more. So we're hoping that maybe more earnings potential in the future. Also, it's going to be skill stacking. So right now there's a lot of jobs where, frankly, you might not need a huge skill set for, and that's not a dig at anybody. It's just the truth. And it allows people to build up skill set much quicker to move into other jobs that might be more fulfilling and satisfying for them in the long run. And that's always good. We want people to feel like they have value, that they're doing something, not that what they were doing before doesn't have value, but doing a repetitive task over and over again, you can lose the value of what you're doing very quickly because you're tired of doing it. So having something that's more mentally challenging and honestly maybe more fun could be a good thing for society as a whole, just, happiness as a whole. Another thing that people are talking about is AI and how it's going to affect the economy. Now, there's definitely a big thing that has helped with the economy lately, which is production growth and economic growth, right? We had GDP numbers come out and they were great recently. And productivity is increasing, which helps companies get leaner and more efficient, which is always good. Okay. It's also obviously talked about in the markets a lot. The markets are just hit all-time highs today, or at least the Dow, I should say, hit all-time highs today. I'm doing this on January 6th, 2026. That's when I'm recording this at least. And, a lot of people are talking about how AI is affecting the markets. And, what's interesting that I have noticed about AI, and we'll get into the market part of it much more in the bubble discussion in the next video. But the thing that I think is really interesting about AI that I don't necessarily think was present when the internet came on board and that kind of thing is AI touches so many other industries. It touches metals, it touches software, it touches chips, there's AI really has a big expanding arm of touching lots of different areas in the markets. And so it's very interesting how it has this effect where, yes, you have your Magnificent Seven stocks that are doing very, very well. And many people said we're propping up the markets. I think we've seen in 2025 an evening out over other industries, over other sectors, much more than we did in 2024. So I think that maybe that's dispersed. Again, I'm kind of jumping ahead because we're going to talk about that in the AI bubble thing, but it definitely has affected the markets for the positive right now. And we'll get into if we can, see a bubble happening in the future, of course. It also is hopefully going to help with some inflation and maybe some price reduction. So, prices tend to go down when things become more efficient or easy to produce. And, some are definitely going to go up as demand changes, but hopefully inflation pressure shifts so that, maybe some prices of things can go down over time. If they can produce more on less dollar, maybe that means that we'll be able to buy it at a less price. We'll see if that's true or not. When I talked about the markets, by the way, I meant to also talk about there's going to be volatility ahead. There's always volatility in the markets, it seems like now, but AI definitely is tied to the AI headlines definitely are tied to the markets a lot. And so as you hear, it's not just going to be like this about AI. Like there's going to be some falters, there's going to be some fallbacks, there's going to be some bad news that happens, and that is going to affect the markets over the long run. So shifts are going to happen very quickly in the market, up and down, and that's why you want to be well diversified, just as a reminder. Okay, so essentially, how do you protect yourself and your financial future in an AI driven economy? Because that's what we're really getting to. It might not necessarily affect your life right now. However, it is going to grow. I just did a short video on this, on how many people are using AI more regularly in their work, and the number is slowly ticking up. So I would say, this is like I think I said this at the beginning of the video. AI is here to stay. We've got to be prepared for it. So here's some things you can do to help maintain where you're at or help grow a little bit more as we're moving into this AI world. First is strengthening your skill set. So, learning negotiation and leadership, tech literacy, adaptive learning, critical thinking. How do you use AI to make yourself better and better? And I would say for the young people out there, knowing how to utilize AI very well is going to help you in the job market, I would imagine. I would be shocked if it didn't. Don't let AI overwhelm your long term plan, is another thing I would say. So, your financial plan doesn't have to change just because AI is coming. But what you do want to do is make sure that you're not, I guess what I'm saying is you got to stick with your basics. You got to be flexible, but at the same time, AI can definitely be that shiny object thing that people are chasing. And again, it's got to be part of a well diversified plan. You can't just rely on AI to prop up your future. You need to still do those old basics as of now to get yourself to where you want to get to. Invest consistently. So if you are in that place that investing works for you, you should, that you've done the work, you understand the risks, all that stuff. You do want to keep doing dollar cost averaging, which means that you're putting money in consistently, not timing the market, not just consistently buying into the market. Overall, it's a nice strategy to have. It does help you get more shares over time because you're buying in both the highs and the lows, and it just kind of evens out, so you end up getting more shares. That's what dollar cost averaging is. And essentially consistently doing the things that are going to get you there, like dollar cost averaging and investing, if that works in your planning and your risk tolerance, that is a power in an uncertain environment. If the market does take a tumble, which it will at some point in the future, we know that. People say, well, I've lost everything that I gained, but you still own the same amount of shares. I think I've discussed this in past videos, but remembering that you still own the shares just might be less than they are now. But doesn't mean that things are going to not recover. In fact, I was just listening to something that Tesla is back 100% from where it was just about 10 months ago. And everybody was talking about, should we get rid of Tesla stock? What's going on? Again, I'm not getting into the politics of it. I'm just saying that stocks in certain areas of the market can recover very quickly. So just keep that in mind when you're investing, and don't get too distracted by all the AI talk. I would say 2026 is a year to make sure you have an emergency fund cushion. That can be 3 months, that can be 6 months. You've got to look at your situation and figure out what that looks like. But job shifts happen quickly, and everybody needs to have liquidity. That's the number one thing I can say. Liquidity allows you to have choices, allows you to be able to take some time to think things through. So you do want to have an emergency cushion. And I would say 2026 is also a good time to really look at your roadmap to your financial freedom journey. How is it looking? What income changes could contribute both positively and negatively? What does tax planning look like? We've got big tax changes because of 2025 and the bill that got passed in that year. So there's a lot of things. So this is a good refresh year for your planning, looking at your risk in the markets, having your emergency fund in place. And I would say utilizing the tool that everybody's afraid of, which is AI. Use that tool to help continue to build your skill set. So that's what I would say are good things to take a look at in this world of AI. I don't necessarily think AI is going to be the end of everything. But I could be wrong, wrong on that. We all don't quite know what AI is and where it's going to go. I mean, even the people who are involved in this world don't really know what's going on. I heard the CEO of NVIDIA saying in an interview, he doesn't quite know where it's going, and if he doesn't know, then none of us know, right? So I would say, just keep an open mind, keep present and aware of what's happening and be active in your life in this part of it, because you don't want to be sitting there turning a blind eye to everything and then not being prepared for those changes that are coming in the way. Even if we don't know what those changes are, just having those basics like your emergency fund and all that is really going to be the bottom line. AI might change the world, but it doesn't have to change your values, your goals, your ability to build wealth. That is the bottom line in this. So, you just need to keep planning. Like I say in almost every video, just keep your plan, keep on track, keep understanding what your goals are, and you will get there. Just know that it might be a little bit of a zigzag rather than a straight line. Nothing in this life is a straight line, right? So, how do you feel about AI? Do you feel like it's going to be great? Are you excited about it? Are you kind of nervous about it? How do you think it's going to affect your financial future? Please reach out and let me know. I'd love to hear about that. And we will continue on this AI discussion. So I hope that's something you're excited for. Until next time, stay safe out there, be strong, be kind to one another, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.